And I am with Kayla Bettles, who we are so honored to have. She is a survivor who has an amazing story. And we just want to first say thank you for your time, Kayla. Thank you for just joining us in I know you're going to have a powerful story that it's not like a happy story, but it's something that you're willing to share. And so we want to thank you for your vulnerability and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to share my story.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So you can just jump in.
Okay. So thank you again for giving me this platform to speak. A lot of my healing has to do with being able to share my experiences and kind of make it so that all of that suffering and pain wasn't in vain. It wasn't for some unbeknown purpose, you know. So I think my story goes back before I was approached by anybody. So I was recruited, what they call recruited, into trafficking. So severe abuse had happened before that, which made me very vulnerable to being preyed upon. And I didn't realize all of these things until I was out, until I had ran away and I had given myself long enough to actually think about what had happened to me. And so back as a little girl, I think it goes back way back to when I was a little girl. And I think it has to do with having parents generationally that were alcoholics, addicts. They struggled themselves in family trauma and things that had happened in their lives. So they weren't able to be there fully for me as parents should be there for a little girl that is figuring out the world and learning things and doesn't know anything, you know, needs guidance. And they weren't able to do that for me. And so just growing up, what I saw to be important was I wanted love. I wanted someone to see me, someone to hear me, someone to recognize me as a human being here and just love me. And so I got married very young, kind of to get out, get away, figure out who I was. I was 17 at the time when I got married, and it was an abusive relationship. And I went through a lot with him. And so when this came to me when I was preyed upon by, and I say preyed upon because I've really given it a lot of thinking and a lot of like healing and therapy and like all of these things. And when I really look at the situation, like I was a very vulnerable woman that was just trying to survive, you know. I was trying to leave an abusive marriage, and I was young. I had a daughter at the time. I had gotten into a lot of criminal things trying to hide from my husband. And so I was kind of backed into a corner when I was approached by a man. I was actually being approached by many different men. I was working at a bar downtown in the city where I was trafficked. And I don't know if they were talking about me, if they heard about me. There was rumors going around that I was a prostitute. And so it became really dangerous for me to be like leaving work and just like walking to the bus station to like get home to my daughter. I would get stopped by people. And so this man approached me and basically kept pushing on me to partake in smoking meth. And I got hooked onto meth and was able to be severely controlled by another person. I was at the beginning very infatuated, I guess, or I was like hopeful that like I would find love with this person, because the way that they came to me was very caring and loving and like, you know, giving me rides home and like asking me about my life. And like, I felt like, wow, someone's like finally noticing me. you know, and they actually care, and like maybe they can help me with my life, and I just want to be a mom. I just want to be okay. And so things changed as soon as he was, you know, had me in his grasp, my trafficker, and there was many throughout my trafficking, which lasted 6 years. It began in 2013, and I ran away in 2018. So I have experienced walking on the street, having to, having to do things that are completely against what my soul is here to do. And so for me, it was very hard. Like I needed drugs and alcohol to like just get through the day because of what was happening to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I blamed myself. I felt blamed and I felt shamed by so many people. People that maybe saw me as like an alcoholic, an addict, someone that was like making these choices. People that truly didn't understand like the depth of what was happening to me. Like I was being surrounded by these men that wanted to take advantage of me. They saw a vulnerable woman. I had a drug problem, an alcohol problem. I had a ton of trauma, like things I hadn't dealt with, things I didn't even know. I didn't know that I had any issues with feeling love, or like I didn't know these things. I was really young. So I was completely taken advantage of. And I've had, I've worked online, and it's funny, the things that I refer to because of the trauma, like I call it work, and it wasn't work. I was a slave. And so even, so it's been 2 years since I left, and even it being 2 years, I still have to think about, like, I have to tell myself, like, that wasn't my fault. So a lot of, like, I tried to leave, probably every other day. I tried to run away. In my head, if I wasn't like planning it out, I was trying to like hide money away, or like do what I could do to like get out. I could never get out. I could never have enough money in my hand to save enough for myself to go, because it was always taken from me. And so I was constantly in this cycle of like trying to leave, going back to him. What should I do with my child? I wanted her to be safe. And a lot of really horrible things happened to me in that 6-year period. I mean, things that are just like things that I wouldn't wish upon even my trafficker. And they're things that now I have to walk through. I have to think about those things. I have to go through those things. But it has been a blessing to be able to look back and be able to see how many people I've been able to reach out to now and be able to relate to. Like there's a lot of women out there that have gone through the same thing, that don't know they've been trafficked or they've been taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. For me, the thing that had me, so I'm going to share about the day that I left. So I'm going to set up the scene, kind of the situation of where I was malnutritioned. I had been so engulfed in making enough money for this person that was like always on top of me, wanting more out of me. He wanted more money. He wanted more of everything, more drugs, more time, more everything was under his control. So I was very little. I think I had gotten down to about 90 pounds or less. And my normal, weight could be like 125 to 130, that's like my normal weight. And so you can imagine how emaciated I looked. And I look back at those pictures now, and I mean, I look like, one person told me one time that like the last picture I took in the mirror, I looked like I was in a concentration camp. So we have a really bruised up, malnutritioned, really broken soul. My body's broken, my mind is broken. I had given up on anyone, like trying to help me. So I was in therapy. I was trying to go to treatment. I was trying to, like, I got my own place. I was trying to get away. And I was telling everyone the truth. I was telling doctors the truth about what was going on. I was telling therapists the truth about what was going on. And I don't know, I felt alone. I felt like it was too much for people. And they didn't really know what to do. I don't blame a lot of people, because what would you do if you saw someone like that and you know, they're snarling at you, they're afraid, they're going through all of these things and you have no idea what to do. Like, I don't blame any of them, but the fact about it is that there was a lot of people that saw me very sick, hotel employees, like people on the street, people in stores, that could see that something was wrong with me, something was happening to me, but I don't think they knew how to even approach the situation. And so I was in a hotel and I was looking out the window, very broken down, very tired. I don't think that I had actually laid down and slept for over a month, close to 2 months. So I would pretty much work or have, you know, things going on throughout the day. So 24 hours a day. I was tired, I was broken, looking out the window, and I just kind of had this inspiration of like, what about your kids? You know, what about all of the people that need you? You know, and I felt like I needed to, well, I put all of my drugs away and I started calling people for help. I called like I just started dialing every number in my phone. And no one was picking up. No one was picking up. And so I called my trafficker and I told him that I was a goddess and a daughter of God, and that I was not a prostitute. This was not me. I am a sacred mother, and no man will touch my body for any amount of money, including you. And as soon as I did that, you know, things kind of sped up, and I ended up having to actually run on foot to a hospital. And there, you know, no places would take me, because when you looked at me, and I was a liability for a lot of places, because I was so, I mean, in honesty, I was so close to death, that no facilities would take me. And so at that point, a lot of people, so I had joined a church, during that time, you know, of me trying to escape. I'm like reaching for whatever I could grab onto for like someone to help me. And I found a really good church, and those people had been coming over to my house and like bringing me food and like checking on me and seeing like, if, you know, just letting me know, like, if you need help, like, you know who to call. And so when all the doors started being slammed on me, when I was like reaching out for help, it came into my mind, like, I know exactly who to call. And it's the people who have been continuously reaching out to me, no matter how I looked, you know, no matter how scary it looked. And so that's what I did. I called the people who had been reaching out to me, and who let me know. They may not have understood what was going on, but they saw that something was wrong, and that they were going to do something about it when I was ready to reach out. And they were there. And from there, I went to treatment. I had my children away from me for over a year. While I finished up treatment, I got a job, I got an apartment. And since then, I have just been working on my healing, which has turned out to be more of it cracks you open. It just cracks you open every time you do it. And when you think about, when you're thinking about how you got out, or what happened to you, or what could you have done differently, I mean, it's a trudging journey, but I'm here to say that there is hope. I mean, if I was able to run on foot, you know, with no food, no water, no anything in my body, just the thought in my mind of like, I am going to survive. Like, I know that other survivors can do it, you know? And so I dedicate my life to being able to share, my story and like my strength and my hope and my light and my struggles. Because the struggles are really where we meet people at, you know. And for me, that is where the church really came in and let me know that like we're here to love you, and that made all the difference in the world to me, as far as being able to like know where to turn to, because I didn't know where to turn to either. I didn't know that trafficking even existed. When I mean, I was probably 2 years in before I was like, what is happening to me? And realized what was going on. And so now I know there's, we're only at 24 minutes, but I want to kind of leave it open to questions and questions that you have. And like, I want to hear what other people are wanting to know, because really I'm here for all of them. Like there's a reason that people are logging on, and I want to hear from them, and I'm an open book right now. And so I want to open it up to you and open it up to the audience and kind of go from there.
All right, I'm going to tell people to ask some questions. I do have a question for you. I have a couple, but I want, of course, them to ask us too. But I do have one question that I've wondered, especially hearing your story. Number one, you are a warrior. For you to just be able to call up and say, you know, I'm a goddess. You know, I think that's really cool. And I absolutely think that people hearing that, if they're in the situation like that, that you encourage and inspire someone to do that. So that's amazing, number one. I also wanted to ask you, so in the midst of that for you, I know that you said people could tell something was wrong, but they did not know what to do. Is there something that you think that if someone reached out to you that you would have responded to? Like what would have gotten you to say, okay, you know what, I'm actually going to come out of this now, if someone would have reached out their hand?
So I think about that a lot. First of all, thank you so much for all the things you said. I think that I know that, you know, I'm meant to do great things, and like I am here, and there's so many survivors out there that like I feel this like awakening, and I just want us all to like stand together and say like no more, you know, like we're not going to be abused anymore, like we're not doing this anymore, like and so like if someone would have come to me and really had some help, like, we have a place for you to stay, get your kids, you know, like this is what we can do. Because what had scared me so much was just like, if I make the wrong move, am I even going to survive this? So I feel like a lot of times I was so scared to leave because I was afraid that other people, like my family or my kids or myself, that it would be more dangerous if I left. So I feel like if someone would have made it kind of like more clear cut, helping a survivor to leave the situation, and there was some people that were trying to plan, you know, for me to leave and try and help me to get out, but I feel like if they would have kind of had more of a solution for me or more answers, because I didn't know what was happening to me. I didn't know. And so I guess, you know, like I said, the time came when the time came. And now I know like I needed to go through that to be where I am right now and be speaking to you right now, like I am. And so yeah, I think if there was more, you know, agency, I mean, organizations like yours, and there's so many other beautiful organizations out there that actually are there to help the survivor, and they understand the depths of like what we're trying to leave and all of the things, you know, where am I going to live? How am I going to get my kids? How am I going to get away from this person? Is it safe for me? You know, if they had more answers for the survivor, I feel like I would have had more comfortability to leave.
Absolutely. I think that's why it's so important to have these kinds of conversations, because I do think I love how people are getting aware, but I think we kind of now, like, this is what I told our team the other night. I was like, I think there's a lot of people aware, but now they need to know how to take action. So that's why I think things like this is so important. We do have some questions coming in, so I'm just going to start asking. I don't know if you can see them. Can you see them too?
I don't know if I can't see the question. Do you want to ask a question?
Yep. So one question is, one thing I've wondered is how serious are these traffickers when it comes to them losing women when they've decided enough is enough? To clarify, I feel like some people think, why not just leave? And they don't realize that it's not just leaving. It's not that easy. How could someone who wants to help do so in a safe way for everyone involved?
So that I get that question a lot, actually. Thank you for that question. It is very serious. I mean, we're talking about enslaving a human being and profiting off of their suffering. I mean, how serious it is that I came close to death. And this person allowed me to get that way without saying, stop, she's going to die. So when I think about how careless this other person was with my life, that's how serious it is. And there's different levels of, are they, abusers are unpredictable. You don't know. You have to assume that they are going to do the worst and I have seen the worst out of multiple traffickers. And there has been, even when I was with my trafficker, there was other traffickers that would try to recruit me from him. So that tells you how dangerous it is. Like, you become an object, a piece of property that other people think that they can pass around and sell and use and abuse. And so it's extremely serious. If someone is willing to sacrifice another human being for their own gain, or a piece of paper, for luxury, for jewels, for whatever it is that they want, a car, a system, whatever it is that their ego, I don't know why they do it. I don't know why abusers become abusers, but they do. And the fact is that we need to take it seriously. Everyone needs to take it seriously. We need to believe survivors. If they say they were trafficked, they were trafficked. Let's help them. Why do we question survivors?
Yeah, that's good. I love that too, because I have recently, I'm sure you have too, stories of people coming out and other people not believing them, and that's just heartbreaking, because it takes a lot of
I still deal with that. I still deal with, victim shaming, and people blaming it on you, that it's your fault that your kids aren't with you. It's your fault this happened to you. You were dressing like that. You were asking for that. I still go through that, and I have to constantly battle that, because it's not true. There's no reason that another person should enslave another person, period.
Absolutely. Period. Yeah. We actually have a question that kind of relates to having daughters. She said, having 3 teenage daughters, I wonder what warning signs would you advise them to look out for?
Well, I have a preteen right now, and it's scary. It is scary, with especially everything being online now. You can't. It's up to you to make sure that you're having those open conversations with your children and allowing them to be able to ask you things and share things with you and feel comfortable enough to come to you, because the fact about it is that there are predators out there, and they are there, but what are we educating our children with to know about? I know that my daughter knows that she needs to have things on private.
I don't know if you guys can still hear me, but Kayla, I cannot hear you. Can you guys let me know if you can hear me? Because it seems like she may have frozen. Oh, I think she got kicked off, but I'm sure she will be right back on. We do have some other questions, so let's just give Kayla a minute to jump back on. Okay, thank you, Ashley. And Kayla's gone, right? I think she'll jump right back on, hopefully. But I do want to thank you guys. Oh, here she is for questions. Definitely keep them coming because I know it's important. Hey.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. It bumped me out.
That's okay. You were saying something really good. That's probably why. Do you remember what you were saying?
Where did it cut out
at? You were saying about how it being an open conversation.
Yeah. So
your daughter knows. I was actually going to ask you, and can you tell if you want, like the age range of your daughter, like so people understand, like it's never too, you know.
Yeah. So I have a 13-year-old.
Okay.
And yeah, she obviously knows because she needed explanation of like, why wasn't mommy like home, you know, where she had questions like, where's my mom at? And I wasn't gonna, you know, most of the time I would kind of keep my abusers safe, because I was afraid of like, I'm like, just kind of wanted to keep everybody safe. So I almost like protected them. And so I didn't talk a lot about it, but you know, since this last time that I had really escaped, like it's been 2 years now, I had to have that conversation with my child. But what I'm saying is that we have these platforms now where we get to learn about these things so that we can take it back to our children. Like not everyone has to go through this. Like we get to learn from each other. We get to share with each other about the things that we're sharing with our children. So, I mean, my daughter knows she can ask me anything. You know, it doesn't mean she always does, but she knows she can when she has a question. So having an open line of like, not necessarily having to say those things, but like if your children need to come to you, being able to have that comfortability that they know they can come to you. You know, you're not going to get upset or, you know, flip out. Like these are real things that are happening, and I don't think that we should like block our kids from knowing the truth about what's happening out there. You know, this is a big problem.
It is. So I also want to, I think another question, part of that would be, is there any warning signs that we could see in, like if you saw something in your daughter where you could say, okay, something might be happening? Okay, what are those?
Yeah, I would say being withdrawn. So not really, I know for me, when I was being trafficked, people didn't hear from me. So if you're noticing that your child is like kind of disappearing, they probably are. And that goes for your friends, your family. Like if you see a friend that is not coming around anymore, you know what I mean? Like find out where they're at, send them a message, you know, and the same goes for our kids. Like let's rope our kids back in if something is beginning to happen to them. If someone is like reaching out to them and recruiting them through a social media website or whatever it may be, at school even, you know, on the way home, like whatever it may be, like look out for any inconsistencies and like something's going on with my child. If you think something's going on with your child, something probably is going on with your child, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so then
that's the morning time I was before.
Yes. Someone else said, one thing to remember when going through these things, this is from personal experience, it is important for the victim to be ready. I remember being told someone saw me in a dream drowning, and I was begging for help, and she told me I have to save myself, but it was God telling her those words, and I took that and realized God was saying I was strong enough. So that kind of sounds like your story too, or you just were like, you know what, enough is enough.
Yep. Yeah, that was a total, I mean, on that day when I was kind of inspired, like, I don't feel like that was like fully me. I really feel like that was like guardian angels and like, you know, God and like my, you know, my spirit telling me like, enough is enough. Like, no, we're not doing this anymore. And if I'm going to die, I'm going to die saying no. Like, I'm not doing it. And that was something that was hard to, I mean, no one wants to be, that's really sad that a human being can get to a place where they think that they're going to die, you know, at the hands of another person. And so I love that inspiration where a survivor says, enough is enough. I'm done. And they walk away, you know. That is it's so powerful and empowering. And like, even though I felt so weak and so brittle and like I was going to break, my spirit was going to break, my body was going to break, I felt, thinking about that day, thinking about me running on foot away from my trafficker, I feel like a warrior and a goddess, you know, and that gives me strength. I can pull strength from that statement. Enough is enough. It's true. Enough is enough.
It's so powerful. Okay, we have a couple more. Oh, I feel like we have a lot. Someone said you are a warrior. And said yes. Okay, another question. As a survivor of trafficking, do you support this new movement of sex work is real work? Pornhub, strip clubs, men lounges are all huge platforms for trafficking. I personally find it hard to support these things knowing the dark side of them.
So I don't necessarily support it, but I most definitely support the ones being abused and trafficked, and I support those people. I don't care if they're calling it sex work or prostitution or trafficking. If someone needs help, they need help. Why are we calling it sex work or prostitution or whatever it may be? We should be supporting and loving one another and helping one another, you know? And so I feel like I support the survivor. That's what I support. I support the survivor, no matter where they are. If they're still doing sex work or if they're in a strip club, I still support them, you know? And when it's time to go and they know it's time to go, they know where to reach for help because someone didn't judge them, you know?
Yeah, that's really powerful. I think that's important too. I just heard a story before we hopped on. My husband was playing it while I was getting ready about a survivor who she said a lady walked up to her with a piece of paper with her name and number and said, you know, when you want to talk, please call me. And she said it was months before she got the courage to call. And she finally called. And again, it was a months of process of kind of talking to her. And she said, the one thing I remember her saying is that sex doesn't define you. That's not who you are. And there's a better way. And so that was like what she had to kind of believe that mentality almost. And then finally she one day had the courage to say, okay, I'm ready, kind of what like that other person was saying. And she flew her out and got her in a safe house. So I think that's good, especially in your story about the people who didn't judge you. I think that's so important. Yep. And I think it's so easy for us to look down on people who are doing things when we're not looking at the person, you know, we're looking at the act instead of looking past that at the person. What do they need? You know, how can we support them? So, okay.
Right. I resonate with all you just said.
Yeah. Okay. Another question. Is it common for traffickers to keep their victims? Were you held captive or were you going home regularly? That's a good question. You had mentioned you were going to the store, therapy, etc. So it sounded like you were free, and clearly that's not the case, to come and go. Was your family looking for you? Just trying to understand how to recognize signs in someone we know. It's a good question.
So like I said, I was very open about what was happening to me with my therapist, with, you know, the store clerk that was looking at me, you know, weird because I looked really sick. I mean, people knew what was going on with me, you know, and you know, that statement of like, it appears that you're, you know, free. Just because someone doesn't have ropes around their arms or chains on them, it doesn't mean that they're not being enslaved, period. Like you have no, like you you just have no idea. And a lot of the, I have to say, a lot of the abuse psychologically is what really held me captive, where I didn't know. And I did think of myself as worthless. And I thought that this should be happening to me because I wasn't worth anything, because that's what I was told by my trafficker, you know? But in no, and yes, I was going back and forth to try and be, I was trying to get out. So yeah, you definitely saw me trying to go to therapy or trying to go to treatment or trying to get someone to listen. Yes, absolutely. I was going to all of those things and I was clawing my way to just see if someone was able to help me. So absolutely, I was fighting as hard as I could. Anytime I could get away and try and find a way out, I was there.
That's amazing. Yeah. I think I had another one. Let's see. Do you struggle with your trafficker trying to get you back or trying to get in contact with you?
I don't think I can answer that question.
Okay. Really fine.
Yeah, I can't answer that question right now.
Okay, something I want to ask you, I think it's important, because I think that a lot of times on social media and different things, when we see that kids and women and children are rescued, of course, it's amazing and celebratory. But I want to ask you, because I know that the aftermath is very real, and I don't think a lot of people realize the trauma and the things that come after, because I firmly know that it doesn't just stop at the rescuing, that there's a lot of stuff that needs to come after. So I kind of wanted to ask your take on that as much as you want to share, because I just think it's not talked about a lot, because we of course want to celebrate their rescue. Of course, that is huge, but there's just so much more, and there's just years and years of things that have to be dealt with. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah. So part of the reason that I always kept going back is just that it is painful to crack yourself open and really think about what you sort through what you have done and what has been done to you. Why did this happen to me? I mean, really just trying to put the pieces together of like, what happened? You know, what happened to me? And there was some very real things that were wrong. And you know, I still go to therapy. I work out. I mean, there's so many traumas physically, mentally, emotionally that you have to deal with, and spiritually. And I think that it has been a very hard walk the past 2 years to fight for my healing. But the farther out that I've gotten, the easier it has gotten to reach out for help and figure out, like, really want to heal myself. Because I know that when I walk through that, when I crack myself open and I work for my healing and I be vulnerable and do things like this is a part of my healing right now. You know, this is me being able to like talk about like my traumas and be able to like have a conversation. Like, I couldn't do this 2 years ago. You know, I couldn't have offered this. I couldn't have been able to have a conversation like this because I was so traumatized, you know? And so, and there's a ton of triggers that I have to walk through that trigger trauma, and you're trying to be like a mom and you're trying to like work and be in society and like still work on your, like, it's a full-time job to be able to, you know, go to all of these things and then like rest. And like, I mean, it's a lot, but I feel grateful because there's some art back here. I do a lot of art. That's a lot of my healing. A lot of me processing the things that have happened to me. I sell clothes for an organization called Don't Be Pimped, and
Can you show us?
Clothes that we have. Yes, absolutely. So this is my Don't Be Pimped tank top, and I brought in, so we have these kimonos that we have now, and these were actually made by survivors in Cambodia.
I love it.
Go to renegadepassion.com or don'tbepimped.com and grab those. And part of that is an awareness movement. You know, we have these like shirts that are like plastered, don't be pimped. And to me, it's just empowering. It's me saying like, no one is going to take advantage of me anymore. Like I've learned this about what has happened and what about myself, even mistakes that I've made and what led me to there. And I'm going to fight to stay out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to fight for other survivors. So
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So thankful for your voice. I'm just going to see if there's any more. I know a lot of people are saying thank you. Thank you for answering, for allowing us to be part of your healing, which I love. So is there anything else you want to share before I want to say one more thing, but is there anything else that you would want to share or leave them with?
I just want to say thank you for giving me this platform to speak and bring awareness and like be able to share my story and the things that I've been through. I'm so grateful, you know, to God for, you know, inspiring me to run away. And I'm grateful to all of those who have been a part of my healing. It's not just me that has done all of it. Like, yes, I'm a warrior, I'm a survivor, but there's been, you know, advocates and doctors and like so many people that have just been friends. There's friends out there that are watching right now. Like, it's because of you that I'm here, and we need to come together and like support each other and support other people, support strangers, you know, like let's love each other, especially in times like this. Like, let's love each other and be there for each other. Like if someone says they're suffering, let's put your hand out and help them, you know, we're all here together. Like, let's help each other.
Yeah, so important. Let me just read these. Just more people thanking you. I put don'tbepimp.com on there and someone said, take my money. I would definitely shirts. So the last thing, and I'm going to post it right now. The last thing I just wanted to share with everyone listening, because I did want to ask about the healing, because again, Kayla said it so beautifully, but you'll never fully see into what she's going through. And that breaks my heart, but also again, wants me to be a part of it even more, a part of your journey. That's why I love that you're here. So I'm going to post, guys, her link to her GoFundMe. I think you can just copy and paste it, because Kayla is having to deal with a lot of trauma, and again, a lot more than we will ever even fully understand if you have not walked, you have not been a trafficker, if you're not a survivor. And she did not ask me to do this, but I asked if I could do it, and she said yes. So anything you could give, even $5, you guys, helps, and it's for her healing, her journey of, I don't know if you want to explain more, but it's pretty much her treatments. She is dealing with PTSD, which I know can be common, and I just think it's important, like she said, that we support strangers and that we support people who need it. And we can see that Kayla is a warrior and she's shining bright today, but she still has so much darkness to walk through. You know, you still have things. But the beautiful thing is I know you're going to be completely healed. But anyway, I want to just share that to encourage you guys to give if you can, because I think it's important and I think it's a worthy cause. And so, yeah, we love you.
Thank you so much. I really, I was surprised by that, but it is for PTSD treatment that I am receiving in Maryland. So it pays for the treatment and the hotel and you know, food, anything that I need to go out there. And I am due to get another treatment. So it would be amazing if people could give to that cause. And I thank you all ahead of time.
Yeah. Thank you guys. So
thank you for giving me a platform.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Thank you everyone who was live. If you catch it on the replay, it's still so powerful. So thank you, friends. And remember, we have another one next Saturday. So, go follow Kayla too. She's super hard to find, but on Instagram.
Yeah.
If you want to follow her on Instagram, if you go to Operation Royalty Rescue's Instagram, I tagged her in the Survivor series, so you can always go follow her there. So yeah, thank you, Kayla.
Thank you so much, you guys.
All right, we'll see you guys next Saturday. Let me end.